Hello and welcome to the world's 9 best fantasy football players Week 4 league recap and Week 5 preview. I'm your host. And this is what we have for you this week. Week 4 games were a lot to take in with a few surprising results around the league. To recap, we send it out to Tinseltown with Tommy Bahama.
Welcome to all 9 of our best fantasy football fans. I'm Tommy Bahama, and this is your Week 4 recap. We start this week in Santa Monica, where Out in Fumbleland was looking to rebound from a tough Week 3 loss. Despite a stellar 38-point game from Zadarius Smith, injuries and COVID would leave Fumbleland thin, and the Lock'em Sock'em Robots were ready to capitalize, led by a surge of points from Bears players Allen Robinson and Roquan Smith. Lock 'em in this week, 193 to 157. After a mid-season relocation, the Texarkana Bandits welcomed Big Chungus 22 to the quaint little town of New Canaan. Big Chungus 22 player Odell Beckham Jr. would not take this welcome kindly, proceeding to, quote, dookie on the chests of the Bandits to a sum of 35 points. TNN would like to offer our sincerest apologies and condolences to the nice people of New Canaan after the incident. 174 to 138, Big Chungus 22. In Miami, the Mental Brick Walls found them challenging an undefeated Demogorgons team. Living true to his name, Mobile Brick Wall George Kittle laid a mortar bed of points down, dropping 32 this week. Amari Cooper continued to prove his worth despite the preseason trade rumors, dropping 28, but it would not be enough for the Demogorgons as they fall 211 to 181. Up in the Chungles of New Jersey, Josh Allen tried to circle the wagons this week for Wat Tifuk Rashard, dropping 3 total touchdowns and 25 points. The Harry Snotters would blow right back, however, sneezing out 4 different 20-point performances this week, including a return to form by star Lamar Jackson. 175 to 153 Snotters. Our lowest scoring game of the week saw Team Hammond Throw taking on undefeated, never lost, Western Mass. Never lost almost made this one interesting, but continue to be really bad, can't win. 155 to 141, Hammond Throw. The final matchup of the week was a barn burner as Team M. Vanek battled to stand out as 3-1 team quarter of the way through the season. The team was carried by a combined 66 points from stars Dak Prescott and Dalvin Cook. If you're feeling tired just watching them, however, the visitors had one thing to say this week. Don't sleep on this team. Joe Mixon had a breakout game for them, dropping 3 touchdowns and 39 points to make the difference for his team and eke out the win in a nail-biter, 198 to 197. This game's a good reminder that the season is far from over, folks. That's been your Week 4 recap with Tommy Bahama. Back to you in the studio.
And thank you, Tommy, for that recap. This week saw 2 teams replace that 0 in the wins or loss column with a 1 as Demogorgon took their first loss of the season to the Mental Brick Walls, and Don't Sleep on this team scoring the upset win over Team M. Vanek. TNN has reached out to owners Joe and Jacob to see how they're handling the end of their 3-game streaks. Here is what they had to say.
Good evening. Jacob, coach of the Demogorgons here. There have been allegations of locker room strife based on poor coaching decisions to bench performing players and to trust unestablished players. I'd just like to clear the air that there's no internal strife within the Demogorgons. People forget Coach Jacob is returning from a year-long sabbatical of fantasy football and still getting back into the swings. No further comments.
Thank you to Joe and Jacob for those great comments. And now, here is Danny Football with our preview of Week 5. Hey, what's up, guys? The world's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Not gonna lie, last week was pretty rough for me. I went 1-5 and lost to my guest, Big Chungus, who also had a terrible showing at 2-4. Of course, I'm still an expert, of course. And I'd like to point out that the one I got right was the marquee matchup of the week. So I do have that clutch gene when it comes to predictions. This is moving my total on the year to 13-11, so still slightly positive there. Normally, I'd say to clap for Big Chungus for beating the expert, but given that his performance was so bad, I don't know if it is deserving of applause. But anyway, it's a new week, there's a new guest, and a new chance to beat the expert. So, guests, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, thanks for having me, Dr. Football. I'm Grayson Maker and owner, manager, not the coach. We're firing the coach of the Texarkana Bandits. We got a long way to go and in a short time to get there. And they say it can't be done, but we are going to win the championship.
Bold prediction right there. So in our first matchup, we have the Harry Snotters taking on undefeated, never lost. Currently, the Snotters are favored at an 88% chance to win. Miguel is now the only winless team in the league, and he wasn't able to come out on top last week despite an absolutely horrific performance from Hammond Throw. Undefeated Never Lost has not done much to inspire confidence in this expert, and I'm not sure how Burrow is going to look against the Ravens this week. Snotters turned things a little bit around. They're looking to get Raheem Mostert back. I expect them to come out on top in this one. I'm picking the Snotters.
Miguel is given little to no confidence or no reason to have confidence in him. And hot take, I'm a little anti-racism, so I'm going Harry Snotters this week.
I love that. We'll endorse that pick. Anti-racism here on the pod. All right, next one we got Wot Tifuk Richard taking on the Lock'em Sock'em Robots. Currently, the Robots are favored at a 54% chance to win. Grayson, what are your thoughts on this one?
This is a good matchup. Let's face it, these are two of the top teams, top 10, top 12 teams in the league, at least. And I'm excited. I am excited to see how this one plays out. Ultimately, I think Lock'em Sock'em's got too much talent on the and also, I just don't like Nooch. Boom. Lock'em Sock'em. Lock it in.
I think that's a fair choice. I mean, the Robots are coming into this one a little bit beat up, losing Nick Chubb, as well as having a bye week for Aaron Rodgers, as well as backup tight end, rising star, and McHenry, Illinois, hometown boy, Robert Tonyan. But Nooch's team, offensive players are pretty sus, especially at the running back position. If this were among us, I would call an emergency meeting right away and say I saw those running backs vent, and everybody would believe me because they're sus as hell. I have to go with the Robots. Next, we have Team M. Vanek going up against the Mental Brick Walls. Brick Walls, currently the favorite in this one with a 54% chance to win. And I'm just going to be straight to the point on this one. Mike Vanek confessed on Zoom that he was happy to lose to Joe last week because Joe, quote, deserved a win. And that kind of mental softness will be no match for the Brick Walls, and I expect them to exploit it in this matchup. Honestly, I didn't even look at any of the players on either of these teams or the matchups they had, but that's the pick. Mental Brick Walls in this one.
See, I got to disagree with you on that one. I've been running the numbers all morning, and 2-2 teams. But what I see here is with 2-2 teams, similar projection. It's a toss up, and who randomly gets lucky without paying any attention? Mike Vanek. So I'm locking in team hasn't changed his name, M. Vanek for the win.
All right, next one. This one hits close to home. We got the Texarkana Bandits taking on Don't Sleep on This Team. Don't Sleep on This Team coming into it as 76% favorites. Who do you like here?
Well, it's not who I like, it's who I love. And I love the Texarkana Bandits, especially in this matchup. I mean, being a 30, what was it? Because I have it as 30% chance to win, which seems pretty good. I'll say it. Historical performances, not great. We put that 1 week at a time, and this is, let's see here. This could be Kyler's big week. I can feel it. He's going to have 5 rushing touchdowns and maybe 1 or 2 passing touchdowns. And rumor is that Patrick Mahomes is going to knee out the entire game. So, calling it now, Texarkana Bandits.
Yeah, fans of the show will know that I've been very high on the Bandits this year, picking them in every week so far, only to be continuously let down over the past 3 weeks, saying that short round and alliteration cannot possibly let me down for that many weeks in a row.
You would be
only
surprised.
To be proven wrong. But to paraphrase the great philosopher of our time, George W. Bush, there's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again." And for that reason, I have to pick don't sleep on this team.
Ooh. It's tough.
It is a tough one, but I got to do it.
That one's going to hurt
save
you.
my record.
That one's going to hurt you.
We'll see about that. Turn it around this week. Next, we've got Ham and Throw taking on Out in Fumbleland. Very close one, with Ham and Throw favored at a 52% chance to win. The battle of the toilet paper panda mascots. This is one that's going to be very important in the crewman division. Ham and Throw snuck by last week after only putting up 155 points and barely beating Miguel's terrible team. Out in Fumbleland, on the other hand, had a tough loss, with Devontae Adams being a late holdout and Calvin Ridley shockingly putting up no points. I think the crucial factor in this one is going to be the injury to Eckler for Ham and Throw. And you know who directly stands to benefit from that Eckler injury? Joshua Kelly. Do you know who owns Joshua Kelly, Tom Walsh, and Out in Fumbleland? For that reason, I like Out in Fumbleland in this one.
I went back and forth on this one all morning in prep, but ultimately comes down to the numbers. And I've ran them, and I get one answer every time. I'm going Out in Fumbleland 100%. Fuck Visconti.
The numbers do not lie.
Only thing I
Fuck Mike
prepared for
Visconti.
this. I didn't even look at the matchups. I just said I need a calculator that says fuck Visconti on it. So
Moving on, we have our marquee matchup of the week. Demo Gordon taking on Team Big Chungus 22. Demo Gordon currently favored in this one at a 73% chance to win. Now, this one is sure to have big consequences in the Imposters division, as these are currently the top 2 teams in the division. Who do you like in this one?
Jacob in a landslide. After just losing to Will and watching as his team really underperformed, and then OBJ put 40 up to make it a decent score, I have no confidence in this team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Demo Gordon coming off their first loss. It'll be interesting to see how this team faces that adversity. Can they bounce back? But on the other hand, Team Big Chungus 22, there have been a lot of people saying that this team is not as good as the record shows. They have scored the 5th fewest points in the league. I mean, I don't know who these people are. It's not me saying it, of course, but people have definitely been saying it. And I think Demo Gordon corrects the course in this one. I'm giving them the victory here. So Grayson, thank you very much for being on the show this week. I wish you all the best of luck with your picks. Of course, not as good as me. Can't beat the expert, but yeah, thank you for being on, and we hope to have you back on again at some point.
Hey, Dr. Football, always a pleasure. Tell Marcia I said hi, and the kids, okay?
All right. That was good. Thank you, Danny Football and guest Grayson, for those great picks for Week 5. And finally, we will end our show with a short message from the commissioner. Hello, and what is up, gentlemen? I just wanted to come back with a quick message this week addressing COVID as it pertains to our league. I would say, as a general rule, that if a team your player's on or the player themselves have COVID, you should err on the side of caution and plan to play a backup. I know that this past week I had offered to swap some players in for the Chiefs-Pats game. I do not expect that in the future. I really want to treat this on a case by case basis, and I don't want to make any hard and fast rules. So, yeah, if someone has COVID, plan on playing a backup. That's going to be your safest option. You can put players with COVID on IR, and if it really starts to become an issue later in the year, I would be open to creating an extra roster spot or two to help alleviate some of those issues as it comes to fielding a healthy team. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Just err on the side of caution when it comes to COVID. Have those bench players ready to go. And I wish you all the best of luck in week 5, and I will see you next week.
That's
My
fun.
goal is to get it back down to around 15, considering we were up around 20 last week.
Yeah, no, 20 was too much because 15 is a good shit. 20 is two shits, which is like,
Yeah.
it's tough to split it up.